All right, well, welcome to Charleston, South Carolina, y'all, on this cloudy August day we've got for you here in the city. Allegedly, it's not supposed to rain anymore today, but who knows? No one has any idea. Those meteorologists in Charleston have the easiest job in the country. But anyway, my name is Mike Hicks. I'll be your tour guide today. I specify my last name because we've got 4 Mike tour guides at Old South Carriage Company. But there is only one of this big boy up front doing all the work for us. So this is Buddy.
Hello, buddy.
And Buddy is a 2,000-pound Belgian draft horse. Draft is the old Dutch word that means pull. So this is what Buddy was born and bred to do right here. In fact, he's a descendant of the great war horses of medieval Europe. His ancestors were the only ones big and strong enough to carry knights in the battle. And they're full armor. So he comes from some good stock, good ancestry. And I get asked if this is hard work for our horses. The answer is no. We get our horses from the Amish up in Ohio. So this is easy peasy for these lads compared to what the Amish had them doing before we got our hands on it. And whoa. Whoa. Do they tell you where we're going today?
Nope, no.
Me neither.
Ohio?
Yeah, the extra long tour sign up for.
Back home.
For this one's just an hour. But I actually don't know where we're going, not yet. I've been told. First, we got to pull up to the pillbox at the corner of the parking lot. Up yonder, that's the city gate. Smallest municipal building in South Carolina. And they got this box on the left side. It's a 1970s bingo machine that the city is going to use to randomly select for us one of the 9 routes through downtown historic Charleston. Too big to do the whole thing in 1 hour, so we're just going to get a slice of it. Find out what that size is here in just a moment. Souls on board.
14 and 1.
Mike Hicks.
Correct.
Specified.
Yes. I would have said that regardless of the route that we got. They are all good, but 3H, nice quiet tour for us here today. We'll see some churches, also some restaurant recommendations for y'all. See some lovely houses. Go down LaGreve Street, which is like one of the wealthiest streets in the city. Beautiful architecture, great landscaping gardens. We're gonna go past the most haunted area in the city too. We'll see a school, and then finish our tour by coming all the way back down past the market. So I'll tell you about the market when we get back here later on. But starting up our tour here on Church Street. And you want to guess why it's called Church Street?
Churches.
Hey, how about that? We got a winner right there, ladies and gentlemen. Of England. Established by King Henry VIII in the 16th century. And that means that the head of the church in front of us is His Majesty, by the grace of God, Charles III, King of England. This is the oldest congregation that we have in the city, 1680. They've been a group worshiping together since then. Not the first St. Philip's Church, because the first one fell down from a hurricane in 1709. They rebuilt it, and then it was being threatened by the Great Fire of 1796, when a slave by the name of Old Boney bravely climbed the church and tore burning shingles off of the roof, saving it like while it was on fire. Great for him. Unfortunately, St. Philip's burns down in the next Great Fire in 1838. So this is the 3rd St. Philip's church we've had here in Charleston. But getting ready to take a right here onto Cumberland Street. Take a closer look at it. Y'all notice anything unusual or weird? Waves on a pond for over 72nd Street. We did not have a Richter scale back then. They reckon it must have been about a 7.6. You can actually see inside of that brick house over yonder left where it crashed in the middle right there. That's the result of the earthquake in 1886. This flag in the middle, coming up on the left, that is the Jolly Roger of Edward Teach. Anybody know what his nickname was? Blackbeard. That's his guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is the, it's all kind of furled up, but it's the spear of vengeance piercing the heart of righteousness, which is bleeding into the bottom quadrant. And one wielding the spear is Death, who is toasting a chalice to the devil. Imagine it's also a very convenient excuse. These discs on the other side of the buildings here, earthquake bolts. Charleston like this that look like wonky, like sideways. Yeah. This is a Charleston single home. It's a unique architectural design in Charleston. It's 1 room wide, so many rooms deep, so many rooms tall, and as you can see, the front door leads to nowhere.
Huh. Wow.
You might say, you know, Mike, that's clearly a porch.
That's
Like,
cool.
What are you talking about? Okay, well, you clearly be wrong. We're fancy in Charleston. That's not a porch. It's a piazza. Oh, it's a kitty. That's a great thing right there.
Hey, kitty.
But yeah, it's a piazza, and there is a difference between a porch and a piazza. A piazza is an exterior room of the house, counting the square footage of the structure, because it has a door that leads onto it. It's considered improper for a gentleman in Charleston to walk either north or east, because on a residential street, because if he does, he can see onto the piazza, even the privacy door is closed. So, okay, I have to tell you that ever since air conditioning was invented, all of those rules no longer really apply. But that means that if you see a piazza door open, don't walk up onto the piazza. Okay, that's trespassing. That is, remember, it's a room in the house. That's technically breaking and entering. So don't do that. City Jail, the most haunted building in South Carolina. I don't know what building would be more haunted than that in the country, to be honest with you. Open for business as it were in 1802, shut down in 1939, and between those years, over 14,000 men who were not sentenced to death died in that building.
Wow.
And that does not include the ones who were sentenced to death. We got rid of them in the backyard behind the jail.
They had food.
Now, the jail was shut down in 1930. As part of FDR's New Deal, President Roosevelt wanted to turn Charleston back into a military port in preparation for World War II. So this is originally meant to house sailors, dock workers, officers, naval service members, their families, that sort of thing. But if you take a look through the gap on your left here, you're going to see more paint blue doors than there's units over yonder. Because the Gullah families that moved in here in the 40s did not mess around. This right here is the most haunted area in the state of South Carolina, if not the Union. Before it was this federal housing, this used to be what you would call an old potter's field. A potter's field is where you would bury your common dead. Prisoners of war, people you can't identify, people whose families can't afford a plot for you in a graveyard or a cemetery. And those 14,000 men that died in the old city jail, we threw them out here too. So underneath you right now, underneath the playgrounds that are over there, literally tens of thousands of people that we buried out here from 1680 to 1939.
At the home.
Of English language, that's a mix between West African, Caribbean, and English, and also is meant to sound in such a way that slaves can communicate with each other in front of a white man and he wouldn't understand what it is that they're saying. They could talk about him right in front of his face and he wouldn't know. In fact, there are some Gullah still in the city, and I've met one, and I was like, I'm sorry, dude, I cannot understand a word that you're saying. And
Did you write that down?
Yeah, and that's, yeah, but that was funny. It was such a shock to me when I heard that for the first time. I've read it before, but hearing it was totally different. Mimminger Elementary School over here on the left, founded in 1867. First place where black Charlestonian children could receive an education. And obviously this isn't the original building. What happened to the original is in 1989, Hurricane Hugo came through. Floodwaters overtook the school. The inspectors went inside and found asbestos everywhere. All right, and they wanted to get the school picked up to get the kids back in, but it was historically protected. So they sat on it for a little bit to think about it. So summers come, summers go. When the inspectors returned, it was clear that somebody had left the air conditioning off the entire time because black mold had just totally annexed the entire structure.
Wow.
But it was still historically protected. And so after several years more of deliberation and debate, not sure what to do about it, Charleston County School District recommended to parents that they send their kids back to school there wearing gas masks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we didn't have to do that though because the moms were like... In 2007, they were digging at the foundation to put in the new playground, and they found over 275 pounds of unexploded Union bombs that had been fired into the city during the Civil War.
Wow.
They were still live. Okay, caked in mud, they had non-oxidized. So the gunpowder hadn't broken down at all since the 1860s. Our historic bomb squad had to come take them off site, dispose of them. 7 generations of kids went to school on top of those bombs.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, this city's so awesome.
That story's the bomb.
Now, coming up ahead of us here on our right, the very historic French boutique, Target. It's just the bottom floor. The upper floors are offices. Although it's probably the fanciest target in the world. A mahogany door is a symbol of wealth in Charleston. They have like 10 of them. And I believe I'm right in saying that this is the only target in the world that sits on the same street as Gucci and Louis Vuitton. When you cross over King Street, you look to your left, you'll see both of them. Go back, take a light. There's Louis Vuitton right there. And there's Gucci down to the pin down there. The last second of the tour, heading back towards the market. Any other questions so far? About Charleston, the horse. How do I not cite for all the cars? Boys went in there to sign up and become men, and over 1/4 of them did not come home from the war. It's a museum now. That flag is out of letting you know that they're open. It's run by the Daughters of the Confederacy, so the descendants of the Confederate veterans in Charleston, they have their ancestors' stuff up there. Arch entryway. Anytime that you see an arch entryway, that indicates that animals are meant to go through there. Square entryways, doors are for humans. So this used to be the meat market. This white enclosed area back in the day, produce, fresh fruits and vegetables and the like to sale. Other heading away is dry goods and trinkets, and down at the end of the market, the harvest of the sea. Those available for sale. And over here on your right, what I suspect is an original 5 and dime. I think this has always just kind of been here since the, I don't know, the early 1990s. You don't see a lot of those anymore.
Well, what would have done there if they're art, they would have brought animals in?
Yes, well observed. I hadn't actually considered that before because of the awning that's over it. I didn't notice that it was an arch entryway actually. So yes, that would have been likely a carriage house. I was going to say that's another reason that not every house would have had a carriage house. They would have kept their horse in a stable, a common stable for the whole city throughout the city. That was probably one of them. In fact, that open area back there, that used to be where the ice house was. When ice was imported, it was taken in there, and they could buy and sell ice. Less than a shilling. It's a creek bed. Something important. You'll see that there's white paint at the top of the market. Mostly it's back there, but the whole market used to be whitewashed until 1989 when Hurricane Hugo came through. Floodwaters, like the salt water, stripped the paint off. So there's more at the top than there is at the bottom because that's where the water receded first, which indicates that in 1989 the entire market was completely submerged by Hurricane Hugo. We have photographs in museums and art galleries of dolphins swimming through this market.
Was that the last major hurricane for this area?
That's the worst one that we've ever had. In the 6 years that I've been in Charleston, we haven't had one that was worthy of note. We get an average of one a year. Now last year was actually the first year in a decade that the United States did not receive hurricane landfall at all. But I'm sure we'll get one this year. Pinckney gave the market to the city on 3 conditions. It must always be a market and nothing else. It must always be open except Christmas Day, and there must never be any auctions in this market, ever. All right, Pinckney's house was at the end of the street. He didn't want to hear auctioneers all day. So there are never any auctions in this market. It means that no slave, no human being was ever bought or sold here. You wouldn't want it out here anyway. By the time of the Civil War in 1861, 97% of the slaves in South Carolina were owned by 3% of the population. Nobody wants to see that. You wouldn't have it out here in public. You'd have it a few blocks that way on Chalmers Street, inside of a slave auction house. It's still there. It's a museum now. But the contract is still legally binding and valid, and the Pinckney family is still around. And if the city ever violates the contract, they get it back. So the Pinckneys come by here all the time just to check. They can't wait for the city to mess up one of these days. Have an auction for charity or open it on Christmas, close it for the Memorial Day or something. It's over. The Pinckneys will get it back. And their ancestors got this land here for less than a shilling in 1800. The market and the land it's on today is worth at least $55 million. It gets more tourists per year than the Statue of Liberty does. Easy to get to. You don't have to get there. Also free. But over here on your right is Henry's Seafood and Jazz. This is the oldest restaurant in South Carolina since 1932. I've been there. Highly recommend them. I'd say overall my favorite restaurant and bar in the city. You can get some fried gator there. You freeze it, and then by law, it's no longer a beverage; it's now a food. So booze pops is perfectly legal. Yeah, in Charleston. There's always a way around. I love the city so much.
So that's, do other places sell frozen cocktails that you can bring around them?
Other places sell frozen cocktails, but you can't leave with it in the unmarked container, because if a cop stops you and it's melted, that's no good. However, if you buy it from Boost Pops, it says on the packaging that it's a frozen product. And once it's a frozen product, it's always a frozen product. So even if it melts, you're still good. This tastes
Good to
great.
know.
It's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
You think that